God forbid you just stop the car until the track is definitely clear. I mean,
when have you seen a hurricane in Texas? Well, it happened that day.
What's all-star about having every driver? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Good guy, ass. Good guy, can't drive a race car. Sorry.
You're listening to the Foreign Fuel Podcast.
hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Foreign Fuel Podcast. I'm your host, Dom Capilupo, joined by Steve Ray, Sam Dooley, and Wesley Riddle. We're here for a Goodyear 400 at Darlington preview. It is throwback week somewhat, not officially. Some guys are running throwback paint schemes. Most aren't. We're going to have some legends at the track, some legends not at the track. Some guys on this podcast are wearing throwback hats. Some aren't. Steve is wearing a nice throwback hat, that Ford Fuel Podcast hat. And I am wearing my Jeff Gordon hat. And Wes is throwing it back to Connor Zilic last year in the O'Reilly series. And Sam, I don't even know what hat that is. It's backwards.
Troy Baseball. It is a Troy Baseball hat.
We're throwing it
now
back
we're not even
Troy
in NASCAR.
We're all over the place here, just like these paint schemes are going to look like on Sunday, but we'll talk about those later. Steve, throwing it back to Wednesday's episode with that hat.
That's right. Yeah, because I guess I should have worn. I have a Terry Labonte back when he drove the 44 car before Piedmont Airlines, but way back in the day, I do have a hat of Terry Labonte. It's a patch that's put on a new hat. It's not an old hat, but I should have worn that. And we were talking before too. I have a Jeff Gordon Pepsi Max shirt that I should have worn too. So I'm a little bit unprepared for Darlington, but I'm going to take the approach that a lot of these teams are doing and just not do an official throwback. We'll do it some other time down the line here. But yeah, Darlington this weekend, it is probably my favorite track that they go to on the schedule. It's just so mentally grueling. You got to have a lot of mental toughness for it. Your car has to hold up for 400 miles. There's just so much wear on the tires. No other track that you go to, maybe outside of Homestead, I guess, that you get a stripe on the car. Darlington stripes are always just so cool to see at the end of the race. Yeah, and you hope that your driver isn't one of them that has too many of them. It's just a track that has so much history, and so many legends of the sport have won at Darlington. It's kind of one of those boxes that throughout your career that you want to check, say that you've won at Darlington. It just is such a unique track. There's no other track like it, and especially with the package that NASCAR is going to have with the increased horsepower. I'm excited. Everything that we've been hearing this week is saying that Darlington is going to be a good race, and I certainly hope that they're right.
Listen, OG Ford Field Podcast fans know that Terry Labonte hat. Steve.
That's right. Yeah,
I brought it up in my memory. When you started talking about it, I've seen that hat so many times.
Yep. Yeah, way back in the day. That was about the only hat that I would wear on these podcasts.
Yeah, so that's little Foreign Fuel lore there for anyone that doesn't know just yet. Sam, I mean, we're all decked out in Troy stuff. I don't know if that's throwback Troy stuff. Probably not. But, I mean, you could just be taking the route everyone is, just like Steve. Yeah, it's not really a throwback weekend anymore.
Yeah, in my opinion, kind of just talking about the throwback thing, I'm fine with it not being a throwback because we've seen a lot of poorly executed throwbacks because everyone felt like, because it was the throwback weekend, that they needed to have a throwback, and then that led to a lot of just poor execution on it. I'm in the boat of let them let's have some throwbacks. Let's encourage good throwbacks instead of just make it like everyone feeling like they have to do it, and then you get 20 slop cars and 10 ones that you're like, oh wow, that's actually good. And I feel like that's kind of what we have, right? Like the guys that are doing throwbacks for the most part have some really cool paint schemes, and so I kind of like how Darlington's still embracing the history of the track through all of the things that they're doing with like their alumni stuff and all the stars that they're bringing back um, to the track. So I think that's a great way to incorporate the history of the sport without necessarily making everybody have throwback schemes. But yeah, I'm not currently decked out in any throwback stuff. But like Bubba, who I may or may not talk about later when we talk about paint schemes, I've got a pretty. I feel like I've got a pretty nice fit, even though it's not a throwback one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you look at Wes, I mean, I think it's kind of a throwback. It's got that 88 WeatherTech for Zillich last year. Actually got that hat at Martinsville. I was there for when that happened. So we'll throw it back to Martinsville in the fall.
Yeah, not too dated yet, but I guess for the WeatherTech sense, it's pretty dated since they dipped pretty entirely from sponsoring Trackhouse cars, at least at least here in NASCAR. But yeah, I guess all my throwback hats are underneath the house. I think one thing I'll have to do sometime is show off my hat collection because I think it might be one of the biggest in NASCAR history.
I say Wes has got quite the collection. I saw some of it there for Martinsville weekend, and it's impressive. It's something that I very jealous of because I love hats, and I definitely don't have the types and quite the hats collection that Wes has. It's pretty impressive that we could have a whole episode just on that hat collection.
Ah, man, I don't know. It's gonna be a long episode.
Oh man, talk about a long like history. You got Darlington here. They've run 129 cup races at Darlington. First starting out on September 4th, 1950. It was the first 500-mile race in NASCAR history. And it took over 6.5 hours to complete that race because the cars were not super quick just yet. And there's been a couple repaves in Darlington's history. It was last repaved in 2007. I think the track is starting to really age up once again. You've got drivers talking about potential of 4 to 5 seconds of fall off, which is going to be kind of crazy, bringing that horsepower back up to 750 here, and just with tires that are, starting to wear out. And one thing one guy's going to try to do, it's Chase Briscoe. He's going to look to become the first driver to win consecutive races at Darlington since the Biff did it in '05 and '06. And we have a handful of active winners in the field, 8 to be exact. You've got Denny Hamlin with 5 wins. Chase Briscoe's got a pair. Keselowski and Eric Jones as well have 2 wins at the track. And each of these guys with 1 win, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, William Byron, and Joey Logano.
The one that stands out to me is Kyle Larson on that list. How he only has one Darlington win? I feel like every time, even back when he was racing the 42 car, I feel like every time that we were at Darlington, Larson always found a way to dominate and lead like 75% of the race, and then something would happen. Bad pit stop, crash. Even these last couple years during the throwback weekends. I mean, last year he was like 592 laps down and still found a way to wreck twice. Um, yeah, so how he's only has one win at Darlington, I mean, just goes to show how tough it is to win at this racetrack. And also how good Denny Hamlin is at Darlington too, because he has 5 wins and there were definitely some that got away from him for sure. He could definitely be like an 8 or 9 time winner at Darlington.
Yeah, the interesting thing about that is interesting what you're talking about with Kyle Larson. The conclusion I kind of come to with that is, we all know he's a really aggressive guy, and Darlington is not a forgiving track. So sometimes he'll overstep that boundary, and guys that tend to do that, they tend to make speed, especially at Darlington, because the more you're willing to risk, the faster you are. But then, you overstep that line by just a hair, and, obviously Darlington Stripe, we talk about all that. You overstep that line by just a hair, and it could be the end of your race. So the more aggressive drivers, while they are faster and um, have that higher potential, and like you said, he's up front a lot. It also can lead to your downfall at a track like Darlington, where it is just so tight and so unforgiving.
And just the way you hit the wall with the next gen car now, I mean, you could pound the wall and be fine, or you could lightly tap it and it'll, break a toe link, bend a toe link, and then the car is undrivable. So it's really inconsistent. So you really don't want to get any Darlington stripes at all. But then it's also just a matter of being able to control the damage when you do hit the wall and not having it bend a toe link. Not like you could really control that once you're in the wall. But you look at back when Reddick and Buster got together, I mean, it cut their tires almost immediately. But we've also seen other guys, I feel like, do more to the wall and to other cars, and then they just keep on going. So that's really one thing to look out for is just anyone get that wall, you got to make sure there's A, not a tire going down, or B, a toe link bent or broken. And so with that, we'll take that into Wesley's Wayback moment.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot you could pick from just because every Darlington race is almost, I mean, I'd say a 10 out of 10. I feel like there's never been a bad Darlington race. And I I think at least for this year, doing the new segments, there's no better race to pick than the 2003 Carolina Dodge Dealers 400. That's just one of the best all around races, I feel like, from start to finish. And of course, led to one of the greatest battles, one of the greatest duels we have ever seen between two drivers on the racetrack. It was even short lived, it didn't last more than 5, 6 laps, and they were close the entire time, kind of hunting each other down, running together for a majority of that last part of the race. But just the ultimate climax was unreal. And throughout the race, though, it was incredible. There were quite a few cautions, I feel like, in the very start of the race, maybe 4 or 5, that happened, right away. And then we got quite a few long green flag runs. But everything, yeah, everything led up to the end. Dale Jr. was up front for a lot of it. Jeff Gordon was up front for a lot of it. Elliott Sadler started on the pole, and he was up there near the end. But I think Gordon cut a tire late. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s strategy didn't work his way, and kind of faded late. And same with Elliott Sadler. But the guys that emerged were Ricky Craven, Kurt Busch, and Dave Blaney. And those three were kind of together all day, ended up finishing 1, 2, 3, with Kurt Busch and Ricky Craven having the most epic finish you could ever imagine in NASCAR. And to this day, if you've never seen it, go watch it. It's unreal. If you've seen it, go watch it again because it's worth every second. And there's nothing better than that. Not really a lot of takeaways aside from a lot of guys finished on the lead lap, or not on the lead lap. Only 10 guys on the lead lap. Tony Stewart was the 10th place finisher. That was the last car finishing 293 laps. I noticed Mike Skinner finished 11th. That was his last top 15 of his Cup Series career before he ended up fading away. And I think I talked about him last week at Las Vegas, how he had a really good run at Vegas and then faded late in that race. But those were like two of the last best runs he's ever had because he ran top 10 a majority of that race. Never finished top 10 for Richard Childress, but did finish, or I guess that was his best finish. He finished better than any finish he had ever had at Darlington in that number 4 car than he did for Richard Childress, which was pretty crazy. Yeah, a lot of cautions. Jimmy Johnson got into the wall early after getting into Sterling Marlin. And yeah, only 5 guys finished out of the race. So when Jeff Gordon cut his tire late, he got in the wall a couple times late. He ended up fading all the way back to 33rd. So yeah, a lot of, you know, Darlington stripes in that race, and still to this day, it's a treacherous track, and that's why they call it too tough to tame.
Yeah, that race, I found it because I started watching just the beginning of that race, like just the pre-race and all that. And like Ricky Craven started outside the top 30. So for him to work his way up there to be in any position to even have a chance to win is really impressive, especially at Darlington. I mean, to work your way through the field and to shuffle out to battling for the win after starting outside the top 30 is, I think, more impressive than anything.
Yeah, and I
Eh,
believe that was Pontiac's last win in the Cup Series also. Big thing that I remember from that too is that if you look at the photo of Craven and Busch side by side at the start finish line, the Pontiac nose kicks out just a little bit, and I think that's what gave Craven the edge to beat out Kurt Busch.
And I mean, Kurt Busch getting out of the car, like in his post-race interview, like, yeah, he's upset he lost, but like a very good, just he knew in the moment, like that was one of the greatest finishes ever, and took it like that, and it wasn't, all this and that, and like, oh, Ricky Craven tried wrecking me and this and all that. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, with 2 to go, Craven just slides it in there, and I mean, just does not work at all. And you think it's over because Kurt Busch had such a gap, but then he goes back into 3 and 4, and Ricky Craven runs him down from like half a second back in one set of turns, and it's impressive what Craven was able to do, and honestly impressive what Kurt Busch was doing is because he said the power steering was going out and was out at the end of that race. So just two guys wheeling those cars at the toughest track on the circuit. It really is impressive what happened that day.
And then yeah, Dave Blaney, best career finish not on a super speedway. That was one of only 5 top 5s I think he ever had, and might have been the first of his Cup Series career. So pretty cool to see him up front racing in that Jasper car. The last success came in the 2001 series with Robert Presley driving the car. And then I noticed too, just kind of looking through the roster, it's interesting looking at some names, just that we kind of forget about, like Larry Foyt was in the race. Jerry Nadeau, that was one of his last races of his Cup Series career before his horrible wreck at Richmond, which he didn't come back to race for. And then Jack Sprague, people forget he raced or was set to race full time for Haas, for Gene Haas. And that deal fell through after just having really subpar performance, but he didn't come back. But he was the first or second caution, I think. He was involved actually in like I think 3 or 4 of the first 4 wrecks. So hey, if you go back and watch, he was not having a good day. But I kind of like to bring up some of the guys, kind of forget raced in these races where, they appeared, like Brett Bedine. I think he might have been in that race. Same with Todd in the 54. So like a lot of forgotten faces, I feel like, in the series.
Absolutely. So that was Wesley's Wayback moment, and that takes us over to Steve, where he's going to try to stump the field.
Well, there is so much history at Darlington that it was honestly tough. I had to call on our buddy Dylan, the guy who thinks that Suarez is gonna win multiple races this year. Texted him and I said, hey, do you have anything for Darlington? And he did send me some good info. But even that, yeah, some of that stuff, looking at it, I mean, we're talking about like everything from way back at the start of time to today. There's just so many stats and everything. So I think we're going to take a little bit of a different approach. I have some multiple choice questions, and that should help alleviate some things. Or for Sam, who maybe struggles with pre-2000 trivia, maybe multiple choice will help. So I think I counted up 7 questions that we have. So we will start. We'll start with Dom, who is still our leader, 4-1-0. So we'll start with Dom, and then we'll go over to Sam, and then Wes, and then work our way back. So, Dom, your first question, number 1. What year was Darlington Raceway built? 1946, 1956, 1951, or 1949?
Well, if you heard my little tidbit, first race was in 1950, so I'm going to go 1949.
1949 would be correct. All right, Sam, your question, number 2. When building the track, what obstacle did the racetrack owners have causing him to build an egg-shaped track? Minnow pond, railroad tracks, a highway, or a bar?
Okay, bar would be funny. I don't know. Um, highway, I don't think it would be. Not at that time. Uh, you said what? I'm leaning pond. What was the other one?
We're down to, let's see if you've ruled out bar and highway. We're down to railroad tracks and a minnow pond.
I'm gonna go pond. That feels like a very Darlington, South Carolina thing.
It is, and you are correct there. This is all courtesy of funtrivia.com. So if there's misinformation, don't come at me, go at them for it. But according to it, the guy that built the track, he wanted a true oval, but the landowner, according to this, Sherman Ramsey, at the time did not want the track to disturb his minnow pond, and that's why Darlington has the unique egg-shaped where turns 3 and 4 are shorter than 1 and 2. All right, we're going over to Wes. Your question, in the first Southern 500, how many cars competed in that race? 43, 75, 60, or 70?
Oh,
I think I
I mean
saw this when
that's
I was looking up info for the podcast today.
yeah. This one's a hard one. Uh, yeah. Wouldn't you said what were the two higher options? 70
Uh,
or 76?
70 or 75?
75. I feel like there were. I feel like it was. I'm gonna say 75.
75 is correct on that. According to this, it says over 80 total cars came to Darlington, but only 75 started the race. Uh, Also, most of the drivers started to buy tires from the fans because they ran out of the tires they came with. Don't know any truth to that, but we make for a good story. All right, going back to Dom. Our next question: who won the first ever Southern 500 at Darlington? Lee Petty, Tim Flock, Richard Petty, Johnny Mance.
Oh, I don't think it was either of the Petties. So I'm down to Flock and Johnny Mans. I'm gonna say, oh, man, I want to say Tim Flock, but I don't know if I should. I think you gotta go. I gotta go Tim Flock. It's just like I'd beat myself up if I didn't pick him.
Well, you should beat yourself up because that is actually Johnny Mance.
Yeah,
And that was the race that you alluded to just
Yes.
a little bit ago. That the
yeah.
first Southern 500 took over 6 hours to finish.
They were going
Uh,
on a whopping like 88 miles an hour.
That's right. And
That
apparently
was
he
when
was
it was true stock cars, son. That's when
yeah.
NASCAR was alive.
And apparently he was driving a car that was owned by Bill France Sr. at the time. All right, over to Sam. In 1985, Bill Elliott made history at Darlington by doing what? Breaking the track record, winning the Winston Million, made his 500th career start, or getting the most top tens at Darlington.
It's one of the top two, but I don't think he got the. I'm pretty sure. What I know he won the Winston. I just don't know if it was 85. So I'm gonna go with won the Winston.
He did win the Winston 1985. For those that are unfamiliar with the Winston Million, they had these four crown jewel races. That was the Daytona 500, the what was then known as the World 600, it's the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte, the Talladega race, and Darlington. And if you won three of those four crown jewel races, you won this Winston Million. And in 1985, Bill won the Winston Million. I believe when Jeff Gordon won his Winston Million, that was also at Darlington too, if memory serves me right on that. But all right. Well, Sam has taken the lead 2-1, throwing it over to Wes. Your question, Wes, here. Who was the first driver to win at Darlington 10 times in his career? Darrell Waltrip, Cale Yarborough, David Pearson or Dale Earnhardt?
Oh, that's tricky. I'm gonna say it definitely was not Dale. It was I don't think it was Dale or Daryl. So I'm kind of split between Kale and David. I want to say, thinking of the Wood brothers, just like how they would perform on the track. I'll say Kale.
Oh man, it was David Pearson.
Well,
Kale was very good at Darlington too. So yeah, that's tricky for sure. But yes, David Pearson was the first one to win at Darlington 10 times in his career. He also has the most poles at Darlington too. And we are we're down to our final. All right, Dom. Let's see if you can tie it up with Sam, and we'll throw it to a tiebreaker here if that's the case. In 1965, what happened to Cale Yarbrough during the race? He started on the pole. He won his 200th race. He went
Flew out
over
the
the
track.
huh?
He flew out the track.
He went over
Went
the
over
wall
the
during
wall.
a crash.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for being a buzzkill on that one. Yes, the other one was he ran over a pit crew member. But yes, he went over the
Well,
wall.
he might have had a crew guy out there off of,
Like,
but
he might have. All right. Well,
well, I don't think it's fair. Well, I think Wes should get a question too,
okay.
give Sam a question to try to win it because he hasn't.
Yeah, because
There's no
Dom was the
tiebreaker.
first one, so
Yeah,
now Dom
so
has an extra question that he's
yes.
answered.
Give Sam the chance to win it.
Okay. Stand by. Let me think of something on the fly here.
He's gonna pull something out, and it's gonna be in 1966. Who was picking their nose in section 102, row 5, seat 6?
Well, who was it?
My guess, Richard Petty.
All right. How about this? All right, I lost track. Whose question are we on now?
It's just
We're on
Sam. It's
Okay.
Sam for the win. For the
All right,
win.
Sam for the win. In 2003, in the Southern 500, which driver got his final Cup Series career victory that day?
Oh, he's not even giving it multiple choice. So he's just saying open ended.
Was that not the one we just talked about? Was that not?
No.
No, this is September of 03.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah, this
so that
this
was
was
the other
the
one.
f-
The other
this
was
one. The other one was the 400. Yeah, the 400
Okay.
Okay.
mile.
That was-
I'll give you Dale Jarrett, Bill Elliott, Terry Labonte, and Elliott Sadler.
I'm gonna. Oh,
I say if he doesn't get it, Wes has a chance to steal to force all three of us tiebreaker.
then we go. We're all over the place. Um, shoot. I'm gonna go Dale Jarrett.
Oh no! Oh no!
All right, Wes, steal this then.
Oh
Well,
no!
yeah, not Dale Jarrett. What were the other two guesses that aren't the answer? That are not Terry Labonte. That are not Terry Labonte.
Bill Elliott and Elliott Sadler.
Okay, well Terry Labonte.
I would
Terry
if
Labonte.
it helps. In my head, I was down to those two because the other two didn't make sense to me. So I was close. I just missed pretty bad.
Should have gave you a hint that we talked about him already on the episode.
Oh my goodness! Oh my god! Sam had number one. He had the first win right there,
Locked up.
and now you got to do a first two answers.
All right. Everybody ready for this? Because this is going to
I
go
am
quick
prepared.
here. All right, here we go. First career win, 2011, Darlington.
Regan Smith.
Ding, 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 ding.
Damn it, man. I was so
Uh,
close. I was so close. I missed it. I swing and a miss, man.
Oh my
I'm
God!
Aaron Judge.
I almost said Carl Edwards. I almost said Carl Edwards.
Man.
there was a thought in my head, and he said first career. All I heard was 2011. The first thing I thought was Carl Edwards.
And I thought maybe Trevor Bain too. I was like, oh my God, I can't say that.
That's why I had to add on the Darlington.
Oh
All
my
right.
goodness.
5-1-0 across the 6 weeks of trivia.
Can't never count me out. Even when you pick Tim Flock, still came back to win that one. So, well, speaking of Regan Smith, let's go into some underdogs for the week. And yeah, you look at Darlington, and the low-hanging fruit is obviously Eric Jones because he's got 2 wins there. But I'm looking at his teammate, John Hunter Nemechek. He seems to run well here when he's not wrecking. And when they put out those, I forget what page puts it out every week with the like the median lap time and where they would run if the race went green the entire time based off of just their lap times. And I think John Hunter was like 4th last year in the Southern 500 on that grid. So I'm gonna go with John Hunter Nemechek as my underdog of the week.
Well, who I like for my underdog, um, I got to go with the 17 of Chris Buescher. Got into it a couple years ago. We brought this up earlier. Got into it a couple years ago with Tyler Reddick, but when when you're at Darlington, obviously the car is a lot of the factor, but having just the talent, this is a racer. You'll hear it be said a lot of times during the broadcast. This is a racer's racetrack, and this just fits right up the alley for Chris Buescher. The RFK cars have been pretty good here the last couple of years with the next gen car. Now, obviously, how is that going to change with the different package that they're bringing? But this type of track just fits Chris Buescher's style, so I'm going to have him as my underdog this week.
And like Dom said, Eric Jones is the low hanging fruit, but I'm not taking that low hanging fruit. I'm going to take AJ Allmendinger. Now, it may sound a little bit crazy, but since 23, he's got an average finish of 14.8. He's only done 4 of the 6 races in the, what they pull. But he's got 3 out of those 4 he finished in the top 20. And he's got 1 top 10 and 1 top 5. So, he seems to be fairly consistent running here. And, he'll get you a good top 20. He'll get you a good points day out of it. So I'm going to go with AJ Allmendinger.
And for mine, I'm going to take actually Eric Jones' teammate, John Hunter Nemechek. In the fall race last year, he finished top 10 in both the first and second stage. Went on to finish 4th or 5th, which I think was the best finish on a non-super speedway so far of his Cup career. And he's led quite a few laps here in both the Truck Series and then the Xfinity Series, now the O'Reilly Series. And I had a check. I thought John Hunter won once in Kyle Busch or with Kyle Busch Motorsports in 2022, he won the Darlington truck race. So he gets around there pretty good. And with a teammate like Eric Jones, I think John Hunter Nemechek, and also just with how Toyota's performing so far this year, I think he's going to be gotta keep an eye out for.
Good. Wes there gave more info on John Hunter than I did. So John Hunter getting some extra love this week.
Oh,
As the
I guess
underdog.
that was yours.
No, you're
Yeah.
good. I never said we couldn't pick the same, but you gave more info than I did. All I gave was a theoretical graph from this other 500. So you came with more info than I did, which is good. So just to recap the underdogs, Wes and I have John Hunter Nemechek, Steve's got Chris Buescher, and Sam has AJ Allmendinger. And with that, we'll send it over to Anthony with Making Money with Marchesi.
What up, guys? Welcome back to Thursday's own Making Money with Marchesi. And we're still not making any money yet, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get it, and we're gonna go on a streak. The problems with last week, I'm never betting. I'm not probably not going to put Josh Berry on any of these ever again. Maybe unless it's Dagger or Daytona. But looking into Darlington this upcoming Sunday, I like the one that I cooked up for this one. And it's a decent payout, too. It's actually a really underrated payout. So here we go. We got 2 top 10 finishers, top 5 and a winner like every week. And, I looked at the odds and I try to be like, all right, what's going to make us the most money but is realistic? So we're going to start with the 2 top 10 finishers. And by the way, this is basically a Toyota special. And I didn't mean to do that, but that's just how good Toyota has been at Darlington. Top 10 finishers, Eric Jones, Bubba Wallace. And I'll tell you why. Bubba Wallace, not the best start at Darlington, not one of his better tracks, but they haven't finished worse than 11th this year. Why not? Why bet against the top 10 finish then? Imagine he gets 11th, right? But listen, obviously he's due for a bad race this year, but I just think this track is too good for Toyota and that manufacturer. 2311's on fire. I really like Bubba Wallace top 10. And then that Jones boy, right? I mean, no matter what team he's on, this man could probably be running on foot and he'd still get a good finish at Darlington. I know Legacy Motor Club's been struggling a lot so far this year. They haven't really given Eric Jones the best cars at each week in and out. But I like Eric Jones top 10 at his best track, arguably, in my opinion. Why not? Really good odds, too. Top 5 finisher, I like Tyler Reddick. And we haven't really bet on Tyler Reddick a lot this year. I don't even think I put him in one yet. And it's ironic because he won the first 3 races. You would think I would do that. But I think this is the perfect time to put him because that 45 car always runs good at Darlington. He always runs good at Darlington. And Denny Hamlin said there might be like 4 seconds of fall off. That's in the wheelhouse of Tyler Reddick. Running the high side, saving tires. Last year he was leading. Hard charging Ryan Blaney gets him. Caution comes out luckily. Still got a top 5 finish, I believe. But he almost won the damn thing. So I like Tyler Reddick top 5. 3 wins this year. Like I said it before, 23-11's hot. I think they can get a top 5 and get the job done. Race winner is somebody who hasn't really gotten the job done this year, who probably needs this weekend the most out of anyone outside the top 16 in points. Chase Briscoe. He, former O'Reilly winner at Darlington, usually tends to run up front there. Also former Cup winner in Stuart Haas when they were at the end of their run at Darlington. Clutch performance, by the way, in that race to lock himself into the playoffs. And you feel for the guy. He's had tire issues. Cody had a transaxle problem. Chase Briscoe. He needs a weekend where there's no issues, and this is gonna be the weekend. I'm just feeling it. The odds are there. Listen, why not? But right above me, I got you. Take a gander, go for it, and hopefully you make some money with Marchesi because we gotta start making money.
All right, thanks, Anthony. Again, we're getting so close to getting that parlay to hit, and hopefully Darlington might be the week. Hopefully the tire wear and the fall off doesn't mess up the parlay too much this week. And with that, we'll go into our fantasy draft where things are looking rough for me. I'm back in the doghouse. Steve did not stay there too long. Sam leads with 483, then down on to Wes with 427, Steve with 396, and a monster week last week. What was that, Steve? 160 points.
160.
Unbelievable. And then I'm stuck with 368. I think I did the math before last week and just to show how far Steve was behind. And I said the max points I think you could get was like 178. And he got 160. So I don't know how he did that. That blew the record of 111 in one race out of the water. That might be the high score for a week all year. I don't know if anyone can beat that. but I'm gonna have to try. And I'm leading off the order this week. So can't take Briscoe or Reddick based off of last week. So, man, I also just don't want to be a jinx. I don't want to be the guy that jinxes them. So, give me. I'll go with William Byron. He's always so fast here, and it's amazing he only has one win. He leads so many laps, and stage points I think are coming at 24's way. So I'll start off with William Byron.
That'll take it to me, and I guess I'll be the jinx. I'll take Denny Hamlin.
That's going to take it over to me, and I'm going to go with Sam. Who are you taking for your 2 rounds? Let me see who you're going with.
No, I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you.
All right, I don't think he's going to survive back, so I'm going to take Ryan Blaney for my pick here.
All right, well, with my first one on the wraparound, I'm going to go with Bubba Wallace. His average start is a 7.2. His average finish is a 10.3. So it's, and when this started, recent history. So kind of a no-brainer. He'll start. He'll probably be up front most of the day. And so we've got Byron, Blaney, Hamlin off the board. And so I'll take. I'll take Chase Briscoe.
I will take. I'm surprised he's made it this far. I'll take Kyle Larson for my pick.
That'll take it to me. Surprise is still available too. I'll take Tyler Reddick.
All right, final 2 picks here for me. And I'm going to take. Can't fault the Toyotas here. Can't go wrong with them. It's just a matter of which ones you're going to take. I am going to take. I'll take Christopher Bell. And then I will take Eric Jones.
And for my last pick, give me Chase Elliott.
For my last pick, I'll keep the hot hand with the Toyotas, and especially this guy, I'll take Ty Gibbs.
And with the final pick, I gotta look and make sure because this may be the first time in 3 weeks that I don't repeat someone doing this. Okay, I'm gonna go. Yeah, he's not on there. I'm gonna go Chris Buescher.
All right. And to recap, Sam, in your points leader, he's going with Bubba Wallace, Chase Briscoe, and Chris Buescher this week. Wes, second in points, is going to roll with Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, and Chase Elliott. Steve, who's third in points, is going to roll with Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, and Todd Gibbs. And myself in fourth will go with William Byron, Christopher Bell, and Eric Jones. And then this week, new segment, Ask Ford Fuel. Got a question over on Twitter from the Trash Man asking us what our favorite paint schemes are this weekend in Darlington. Kind of hinted at that earlier into the show. So we'll start. I am really liking Zane Smith's Elliott Sadler throwback to 2000 with the Wood Brothers car. I like the look of it. It's pretty well executed. And we talked about Elliott Sadler a little bit, I think last week in 2000 with that whole deal with the flip at Michigan, but just kind of Elliott's first year there and really Elliott's like chance and cup really started with the Wood Brothers. And it's a nice little throwback there the 38 team is doing.
My throwback of the week, outside of RFK, because that's the low hanging fruit. Those three are easily my top three favorites. But outside of them, the other one that I like is actually the O'Reilly series. Brendan Poole's 44 car, throwing it back to Greg Biffle's National Guard scheme from like the 05, 06 era. Just everything with it, especially when you can get your sponsors on board with like changing their look a little bit so you can get it more accurate. The number fonts, everything with it just is awesome. Alpha Prime always crushes it every year with their throwbacks, and this is no exception. So, Brendan Poole's 44 car is my throwback of the week.
And for mine, if we're talking straight throwbacks, my favorite throwback of the week comes from the trucks, and that is the Johnny Benson throwback that they're doing with the 11 car. I've seen like all the videos and everything the Tricon's been releasing, and it's looked really sick. Um, Seeing that car, or that truck, excuse me, and they've even gone to like the details of like it's like they've got I saw on a post that they put on I think Twitter, um, they've got the like old Craftsman truck series logo, like the tough trucks or whatever it was like an old logo. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up on Twitter. I believe is where I saw it, and they're really leaning into that throwback whole thing. So yeah, I really like the 11 car truck.
And mine, I'll stick with I guess the low hanging fruit here is Carson Hocevar's. Just that iconic look of the 1981 Dale Earnhardt Wrangler paint scheme. One of the more forgotten paint schemes in his career, but honestly one of the best. And it just looks slick. It's nice to see just the iconic colors that Dale Earnhardt kind of established his legacy in. Because without, the Osterlands of the world and early Richard Childress, right? I mean, we never would have saw what Earnhardt could have became. And here's Carson Hocevar, kind of the guy that emulates Earnhardt in ways and that everybody makes comparisons to, running a throwback paint scheme to him at one of the hardest race tracks to drive. It's pretty, I guess, pretty ironic in that sense, but pretty cool that we can kind of carry on the tradition of Earnhardt and specifically a paint scheme that's kind of been forgotten about over the years.
Yeah, no, really cool that Chili's is hopping along with that because it's always cool. Because you had some throwback paint teams like Chase Elliott ran one last year, the year before, where they said it was this paint scheme, but the colors didn't line up, so it looked nothing like that paint scheme. And a lot of sponsors were like, "Well, we'll do the throwback as long as we can keep our colors." And at that point, it's just like, why bother? Because it doesn't look anything like it, and like the idea doesn't even look like it was there. So you're better off just not running the throwback. And so to see Chili's just allow that blue and yellow to be there because that's not Chili's colors by any means, which is really cool. And Hocevar is going to lean into it, and he'll probably, you know, be dressed up like Dale this weekend. You got to imagine, and it's pretty fitting. And I'm sure if they make a T-shirt on that and diecast, those will all sell out pretty quickly, considering the popularity of Hocevar now and just anything Dale Earnhardt, especially like that. You had Dale Jr. saying that was his favorite Dale Earnhardt paint scheme. And I mean, if you're getting praise from Junior on a senior thing, it's good for sure. So we'll wrap this up. Final thoughts from everybody. I'm expecting a crazy race. I mean, tire management's going to be the name of the game. Who's going to hit the setup right that can allow you to save the tires enough? What drivers are going to run through tires? We've seen it at Bristol. Some drivers are good, have good speed, but the tires fall off way quicker than others. And it doesn't matter how quick you are if you burn the tires off, especially when you're looking at 4 to 5 seconds of potential fall off. And will we see any crazy just wrecks with people losing it with the simple diffuser? Because apparently it makes it a lot harder to drive.
Thing that I'll be looking for, we touched on it during our Las Vegas recap, is just the lack of speed at Vegas from the Trackhouse cars. Are they going to rebound this week? Specifically, Ross Chastain. I also look for Connor Zilich's first time in a Cup car at Darlington, and then SVG, still the kind of unknown question mark of how's he going to handle these ovals. And Darlington is tough on people with not a lot of experience. So I look for a rebound from Trackhouse this week.
And I'm looking forward to kind of a simple one, but just a full weekend of racing. We've got trucks, we've got uh, Xfinity Nationwide O'Reilly Bush Series, and we've got Cup. Everyone's here this weekend. Everyone's having fun with their paint schemes. So I'm just excited that we've got everything because I feel like it's been at least 2 or 3 weeks since we've had trucks. So it's going to be nice to have a full weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every day. I know I can sit down and watch a race.
I was taking a look through. I wanted to check the truck series first, but looking at guys that are doing more than just a cup race. So in the truck series, you've got AJ Allmendinger driving for Colleague. You've got where did I say Christopher Bell driving for Stuart Friesen. His team, Ross Chastain is back with Nice. Carson Hocevar there in the 77. And then I'm not sure what the Xfinity Series lineup looks like. I don't know who could be running the double there. Looks like Ross is in the 9 for Junior Motorsports. Um, kind of taking a quick look, but just to see, so Ross is doing the triple, like how, this is such a difficult racetrack, and I feel like endurance is so important. So how could that hurt Ross's chances or help it when it comes to a Sunday race, right? Ross is not looking too hot so far to start the series outside of the playoff bubble. So what will two races do? And before the Cup race, and then same with like Christopher Bell and Carson Hocevar, how can they navigate the weekend? And then overall, yeah, just I feel like a lot of tires that blow when we have cup races at Darlington. We see more green flag instead of cautions thrown right away because they can pull off the track pretty quick since the apron's right there. So hopefully we get some long green flag runs to see that tire wear, to see who can come from the back, who are going to be the comers and goers, because I feel like that, and then the strategy that plays into it will make for a really exciting cup race on Sunday.
Yeah, Bell and Chastain both doing the triple, so we'll see. Because you got Bell in the 19 and O'Reilly.
For Joe Gibbs, yeah.
Yep, running that 19 Sport Clips car since Denny Hamlin no longer does the O'Reilly series.
I didn't mention it. Kyle Larson there, he's going to be in the 88 as well for
Mhm.
Junior Motorsports. So only a double for him, but there's another guy right just the day before. Kind of how will it all kind of play out for these guys just, on a track that's as difficult as Darlington.
Yeah, that O'Reilly race is always really interesting to watch because it's a shorter race. It's a pretty quick race, but you also have like limited sets of tires. So it's like if a caution comes out in the middle of a stage, do you burn a set of tires that you might need at the end, or do you just kind of hang on until that end and banking on having a set of tires late in the race? So it's always interesting in the O'Reilly race. And when you have heavy hitters like Larson, Bell, Chastain in the field, and then you have people like Brandon Jones, who's notoriously really good at Darlington, in there. I mean, it should be an exciting race for sure. Not that really the O'Reilly series lacks excitement because it's probably the best product on the racetrack each and every week.
We
So,
I was gonna add one more thing just to kind of go back to a throwback. Steve, you mentioned Greg Biffle's paint schemes. One more, Matt DiBenedetto is actually back this weekend in the Xfinity series, and he's doing a throwback to Michael Lynette. So just to kind of pay tribute to another guy that we lost in the offseason. It's a throwback to his pilot paint scheme, the number 7 that he raced for, I believe, Tommy Baldwin. So pretty cool. Pretty cool to see, two important figures that were in the NASCAR industry honored this year on the racetrack.
Yeah, there was one more too. I don't know the driver, but it's I think the 22 truck is running in a net scheme too. That black and red car that he actually won at Daytona with. So yeah, cool to see a couple of net schemes out there and a couple Biffle schemes for sure.
all right. So, and keep your eye out for Harry Gant and Kurt Busch out there on Sunday during the ceremonies for sure. So, Darlington, we'll be back after the race to talk all about it and everything that happened this weekend. So, for Wes, for Sam, Steve, I'm Dom, and we'll talk to you once again after Darlington.